Good evening. I'm Kelda Yoon. The University of Toronto has been granted an injunction to have a pro-Palestinian encampment cleared from its campus. The court's ruling comes after exactly 2 months of protests calling for the university to cut ties with Israel and divest from companies profiting from the country's offensive in Gaza. Tyler Cheese is live for us tonight at U of T. Tyler, tell us more about today's ruling.
Yeah, Kelda. So protesters now have until 6 p.m. Wednesday to dismantle the encampment. After that, according to the justice's ruling, police are authorized to come in and arrest or remove anyone who hasn't already left. Earlier, we spoke with organizers who are reacting to the news.
This community is strong, the students are strong, the faculty are strong, and we will continue to demand divestment and fight for Palestinian liberation until Palestine is free.
When protest organizers were asked whether they plan to comply with the injunction's orders to dismantle the encampment, they said they will regroup before making a final decision. But
this encampment is just one tactic, and we are prepared to employ as many as necessary to achieve our demands. We call on every student, every faculty member, every staff member with a conscience. Right now is the time to stand up.
During the injunction hearings in mid-June, the university's lawyers argued the protest breaches school policies, infringes on the free speech of others, and has made members of the community feel unsafe with hateful actions and anti-Semitic speech. But the justice ruled there wasn't enough evidence from the university to prove that was true. For him, it came down to the fact that the campus space is private property belonging to the university.
This decision is based on a single legal principle, on who owns private property and what the idea of Canadian law says, who it defines as the owner of that private property, and what control it gives to that owner on what can be done on that property.
Shortly after the decision came down, University President Merrick Gertler released a statement saying, in part, "We expect those in the encampment to abide by the court order and vacate the encampment before the court-imposed deadline. Anyone who chooses to remain in the encampment after the deadline is subject to consequences under the university policy and the law." The ruling does state protesters can still demonstrate on campus as long as they don't erect any structures or stay overnight. The university says it supports that decision as it will ensure the protection of the protesters' foundational rights to assemble and freely express their views. Now, the university says it has requested assistance from police if necessary. Meanwhile, the force says they hope everyone leaves voluntarily. But, Kelda, we're just going to have to wait till that deadline passes to see what happens next.
Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Thanks so much, Tyler. That's our Tyler Cheese reporting live for us tonight. Toronto police are continuing to investigate a disturbing rash of shootings in Scarborough over the weekend. All of them believed to be connected to turf wars in the tow truck industry. Greg Ross has the latest.
This dark-colored Honda CR-V seen in these images released by police is believed to be involved in a string of shootings in Scarborough between Saturday morning and Sunday evening. Police say in all there were 8 shootings, and they say all are believed to be part of a turf war in the tow truck industry.
We obviously had a very busy weekend with a number of shootings.
Toronto Police Chief Myron Demkew spoke about the shootings this morning.
We are very much approaching this with our all avenues of investigative opportunity open, and we're looking at all different elements of motivation that may be behind these events.
Police say the CR-V pulled into each of the locations and someone fired shots out of the back window. Nobody was hurt, but homes, businesses, and cars were all damaged. This collision center on Birchmount Road was one of the 8 locations hit over the weekend. Several shots were fired at the front of the building, and several cars were damaged as well, including this one that has a bullet hole through the front windshield. These signs were used to cover more bullet holes in the front door and the front window. The owners of the business did not want to speak on camera, but this man who lives across the street says he heard the shots from his living room.
About four songs, pow, pouch, pouch. By then the police them started to come in.
This weekend's shooting spree brings the total number of tow truck related shootings to well over 30 since the beginning of the year. In addition to that, police say that there have been a number of tow trucks intentionally set on fire. They say there were 9 acts of arson just in April and May of this year alone. Police in Durham region are investigating 2 more tow truck fires that happened yesterday morning. The problem has gotten so bad, But Toronto police announced that they will be allocating more resources to the fight against tow truck violence.
We announced our tow truck task force last week, which is our whole-of-service approach to the violence that is emanating as a result of the tow truck industry.
The province is also taking up the fight. New regulations went into effect yesterday. Tow truck drivers and vehicle storage operators will now need to be certified. They'll need to complete mandatory training and get a criminal background check. Some say the regulations still don't go far enough.
You follow the money. We have not eliminated the ability for criminals to make money in the towing business, despite all the regulations that have been applied. So if there's money there, a criminal element's going to be involved.
This former coordinator with the Fair Towing Task Force says the province needs a better system to regulate and keep track of the billing process to prevent criminals from charging exorbitant fees. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Toronto police have arrested a 19-year-old man following a crash that began with the theft of a vehicle. It happened at approximately 1:40 a.m. Tuesday in the area of Yonge and Dundas Street East. Police say the victim had left their car running when the suspect jumped into it and drove away. The victim then got into another vehicle to follow the suspect when a crash happened between several vehicles, including the stolen car. Police arrived at the scene and arrested the teenage suspect. He was transported to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone with more information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. A doctor in Eastern Ontario was acquitted today of murder and criminal negligence charges. Dr. Brian Nadler faced those charges in connection with the deaths of 4 elderly patients at a hospital in the town of Hawkesbury, about 100 kilometers east of Ottawa. Nicole Williams was in court today and has those details.
After 3 long years, Brian Nadler walks out of court declared innocent.
Innocence goes beyond the notion of guilty or not guilty. It goes to the point of vindication. And today is a day of vindication for Dr. Nadler.
Nadler faced 4 counts of first-degree murder and 4 counts of criminal negligence in connection to the deaths of 4 patients at the Hawkesbury General Hospital in March of 2021. Nadler was a doctor there and accused of intentionally over-medicating the patients. His license suspended. Today, he's been acquitted of all 8 charges against him.
That Dr. Nadler's life and reputation have been clouded by the innuendo of suspicion surrounding these deaths for the past 3 years.
Today, the court heard how the judge had ruled enough evidence as inadmissible during pre-trial hearings. The Crown no longer seeing a viable way to prosecute.
I've practiced law for 50 years, almost exclusively in the area of criminal law, and the answer to your question is this is unprecedented in my career.
Some of that evidence included a report from an internal medicine specialist. The judge ruling the hematologist was not a properly qualified expert. Nadler's lawyer told reporters of several other reports from both forensic pathologists and toxicologists, all concluding that the patients died of COVID-19. Hawkesbury Hospital officials declined to comment on today's ruling. The Ontario College of Physicians and Surgeons could only say it was aware of today's proceedings and are in the process of gathering more information. The Crown itself also didn't do an interview with us today, but in a statement did say that it reserves the right to appeal this case and order a new trial. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Ottawa.
The Ford government says its cuts to red tape will save Ontarians and Ontario businesses over $1 billion this year. CBC News obtained details of how the government arrived at that figure. A big portion of the savings goes to developers. Our senior reporter at Queen's Park, Mike Crawley, has more.
Ontario is open for business.
Since his election in 2018, Premier Doug Ford has made a big deal about what he calls red tape.
We've cut reams and reams of job-killing red tape, saving businesses $400 million.
We've cut red tape and regulations over $700 million. We're reducing the cost in the red tape by $1 billion.
So, what's behind those figures? I asked the government to show me its math. Turns out the 2 biggest red tape cuts benefit developers to the tune of more than $400 million a year. The government says developers will save more than $250 million this year because the province banned cities from imposing parking minimums on new housing near transit hubs, and another $160 million because of its cap on education development charges. Those are the fees that school boards can levy on new housing so they can buy land for new schools.
These aren't really savings, they're not the result of any kind of improved efficiency. They may have saved developers some money. And in fact, what's happened is it's come at the additional cost of reducing revenue to our school boards.
Another big beneficiary? Employers. They're saving $91 million from the government's changes to the Employment Standards Act, such as scrapping paid sick days. The most frequent target of the government's red tape cuts? The Environment Ministry. Nearly 1/4 of the more than 200 measures target environmental regulations.
It's quite possible that some of these changes do reduce actual red tape, and we've got no problem with simplifying process as long as the outcomes are the same. The problem here is that, particularly with respect to these land use planning and endangered species changes, the Ontario Water Resources Act changes, it doesn't look like that's what's happening.
The Minister of Red Tape Reduction, Mike Harris Jr., was not available for an interview. In a statement, he says the government's initiatives have streamlined regulations, stimulated economic growth, and led to the building of more homes. And he says the measures do all that while maintaining the government's commitment to protecting the environment. Mike Crawley, CBC News.
Welcome back. The powerful Hurricane Beryl is closing in on Jamaica after already leaving a trail of destruction in other parts of the Caribbean. People in Jamaica are beaching boats and boarding up windows, preparing for the storm's arrival. The hurricane already made landfall in several smaller islands in the Caribbean. At least 6 people were killed. The storm has now been downgraded to a Category 4 from the most severe Category 5, but is still expected to cause much destruction. This was the earliest Category 5 storm in the Atlantic, Caribbean, and Central American basin. Scientists say the unusually early timing and the storm's strength is partly due to warmer ocean temperatures. The Paris Summer Olympics are only a few weeks away, and today Team Canada announcing its roster for the women's basketball team. Among the 12 players announced to the squad are Kayla Alexander, Shea Colley, and Sammy Hill. Both Alexander and Colley played in Tokyo, making this their second Olympic Games. And meanwhile, Hill is one of 4 players who will be making their Olympic debut in Paris. Dwight Drummond spoke with them earlier today about the excitement of representing Canada on the world stage.
Honestly, I'm just filled with a lot of gratitude, excitement, and joy, because it's not easy to get to this point. So I'm just really thankful not only for the opportunity to represent my country, but to have the opportunity to do it 2 times now in Paris alongside these incredible women. So I'm just so much joy and gratitude right now.
Well, we're glad you're here. Because there were some years we're like, why isn't Kayla Alexander on this team? But we won't get there.
It was a process.
It was definitely a process. And for you, Sarah, like, what is it like? And you've been doing this for a while now. From you were young, you've been in the program, right?
Yeah, I've been in the program for a while, but this will be my first Olympic Games. So extremely excited, and as Kayla said, always grateful to put on this jersey and play beside my teammates.
And you, Shay?
Yeah, they pretty much said it all. The same feelings. Every time we get to put on the jersey and represent Canada at any level or any competition, if it's the America qualifying or the Olympics, it's an honor and a blessing.
But the Olympics is special.
For sure, for sure.
Now Alexander. Little bump and a strong finish. Great post move by Kayla Alexander.
Our women's national team is heading to their 4th straight Olympics. Congratulations, you guys. How do you think this program has been able to stay this consistently good for this long? Is it because, we'll start with you, Shay, because we have a big talent pool in this country? Where are we finding all these female ballers?
Definitely a big talent pool, but also the commitment from the young generations, like sticking to the programs, doing junior academy, the training.
You can start basketball really at any age, but I feel like if you get girls being competitive and loving the game and finding a place to play outside of just their school, So with Junior Academy, there's a place to go, a goal to set at a young age.
Let's talk about this new coach, Victor, is it La Peña? Yes. We have 2 Spanish coaches because the men's team is also, like, how are things going with coach? How are you getting used to this? Because you guys came up in the program under the old coach, right? How are you acclimating to your new coach?
I love Victor. He's one of those guys that strives for excellence, and he'll push you, but he'll help you get there as well too. He has so much faith in his players. He builds you up so much. He's one of those coaches that you want to like run through a wall for. I've enjoyed every moment.
And I want to ask you guys, what's the chemistry like? But just listen to the 3 of you right here. I feel like the chemistry on this team is really good. What is it like playing with these guys? What is the chemistry like?
It's the best. I look forward to it every summer, every FIBA window, being back with my national team teammates. It's my favorite place to play. Obviously, representing my country is one thing, but I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else by my side. And it's just a joy, and I think that it shows on the court, and it's one of our strengths as a team.
Congratulations, because I think that your team won the French Cup title. Those 2 right there. Finals gave MVP. What kind of momentum does that give you guys heading into the Olympics, man? Like, in France too, so you know the place. You won a championship there. Why not add an Olympic medal to it? Right?
Shay and I were talking about it because it's going to be in the same location.
Where you guys played your championships over there?
Bercy. So we'd love to recreate that with our national teammates. For sure.
Think about that. You've already won a chip on that court, and you're going back there again.
Going back. We have to take care of business first for the first round, and then, we'll be there.
Now, we kind of claim you here in the GTA. Bram, shout out Brampton. But you're from New Scotland, man. We know you're from Nova Scotia. And also, shout out to all the Scotians out there, because you got to rep them too.
For sure, always. East Preston and North Preston.
Come
shout
on.
out to them.
Oh, so isn't, who told me he's a Preston kid too? On the men's side, Brooks.
Yes, he is.
He said his dad's from Preston and his mom from New Brunswick. So shout out to
Brooks
Maritimes, representing our Team Canada. And this is the final question for you, Shay. Is it true that you're this true Canadian outdoors person, that you like camping and ATVs? Is that true?
It is. That is very true. Because I grew up in East Preston, where we camped a lot, fished a lot, and rode ATVs. So it's just something that's instilled in me. And to this day, like, you could take me out of the country, but you can't take the country girl out of me. So. Your mom, Pam, was a national triple jumper at U of T. Really? You didn't know that, right? No. And her dad was a high school basketball legend. And also played at U of T. In fact, your dad too. Both of your dads were high school basketball legends in Toronto. I mean, how does it feel continuing this athletic legacy that's now taking you all the way to the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm just proud to be part of the family. In my family, we always tease my dad and say we got all our athletic genes from my mom, so I'll keep that going. Anything I didn't ask you guys you think is important for people to know as you head off to the game, as we congratulate you on cracking the squad? We're really proud of you guys. Anything I didn't ask you think is important?
No, just watch. I mean, we feel the support, back home. So just watch Canada basketball, women's basketball, and go Canada.
Go Canada.
The Toronto Police Service launched its annual Youth in Policing program today.
This program began in Toronto, and now the provincial government's Ministry of Children and Youth Services funds the YIPI program province-wide. It is a partnership between the ministry, the Toronto Police Service, and the Toronto Police Service Board.
Over the next 2 months, students will be assigned to various police units and divisions, gaining work experience and life skills through working with officers and community members. 155 youths aged 15 to 18 from more than 30 neighborhoods in our city will be taking part in this year's summer program. Right, meteorologist Chris Potter joins us. And Chris, last week I was saying I'm enjoying these, cooler temperatures, especially the last few days. But I know things are getting back to being seasonal or a little above seasonal this week.
I mean, obviously yesterday, Kelda, I hope you enjoyed Canada Day.
Yes.
I hope everyone else did. It was a picture-perfect day for anything going on, whether you went to an event, whether you watched the fireworks. We had high pressure firmly in place. That allowed for sunshine, generally light winds. Daytime highs, though, still a bit below normal. The normal daytime high this time of year across our entire forecast region, kind of mid to almost upper 20s. Today, a little bit cooler than that, with a little bit more cloud as well. And that cloud continues to build in from the west. A few hit or miss showers moving in towards Lake Huron, Georgian Bay, over enhanced a little bit, but there still is some activity out there. But the bulk of the active active weather is kind of moving in from the west. We have high pressure that's going to settle off towards the east coast, and that will allow a summer-like weather pattern to develop and allow temperatures on average to be above normal over the next 7 days. Southerly winds the main culprit for that, but with this warmer air moving in is also instability, and there is a feature moving in from the northwest, and it's utilizing that instability to create a large area of strong to severe thunderstorms, Iowa into towards Missouri and Illinois. Same system, different setup for us. We're not going to see that widespread significant active weather move in across the board, but we will still at least have the potential for a few showers, maybe the odd rumble of thunder rather. Starting off tomorrow with lots of sunshine, and that's universal across the entire forecast region. Into the afternoon hours, we start to see a lot more cloud build in, and once again, it's not overly organized. It's very hit or miss in nature, very spotty, if you will. So there will be the potential of your community, your area, even here in the downtown core, to get into a few hit or miss showers, maybe the odd rumble of thunder. It's short-lived. I think that we'll expect Wednesday to be a drier weather day. I really don't think that anyone will think it is a wet weather day, if you catch my drift. By the evening, all the instability is gone. We start to clear out a little bit more effectively. And although a little bit more cloud moves in for Thursday, it still looks dry. In terms of daytime highs for your Wednesday, highs around 30 for Toronto. Obviously, that's a contrast compared to the past couple of days, but humidity will make it feel like the mid-30s in a lot of areas. We'll lose the opportunity for active weather into Thursday. Temperatures still holding their own at 29. 27 for us on Friday. Will become mostly cloudy with showers Friday night and possibly into Saturday, Kelda. And then Sunday, we should be dry with a high of 27.
All right, thanks so much, Chris. And that's our show for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night, everyone.